So I just had to come on here and talk about this one because again, spreading this fucked up information onto platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and things like that when it's inaccurate or incomplete is harmful. So they're adding letters to the flight freeze response. And of course, fawning is one of them, which is the people pleasing face. But they're also adding, I believe it was faint and fine to it when people say that we're fine. As someone who uses that to stop the conversation with individuals who obviously do not comprehend my situation, I'm telling you right now, when we say we're fine, we're not saying everything is good or we are not suppressing emotions. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're suppressing emotions. On the contrary, for someone like myself, there is no way you can suppress emotions. If I try to suppress emotions, that's when I faint. Yeah, that's when I pass out. Or that's when my fucking organ function starts to deplete altogether. And I mean deplete. Kidneys will go into failure. Pancreas goes into failure. I have trouble with my blood sugars. There's a lot of different things that happen from suppressing emotions, okay? However, the other side of it is that even if you are accepting those emotions and actively processing those emotions, the trauma response to the body is still the same. So essentially, even when you're moving through it, you can still faint, you can still fawn, you can still end up with organ failure or dysfunction because of the fact that you're processing it and the body has to detox from it. It's why I use a sauna mat. It's why I have multiple ways of processing out of the body. This doesn't mean that it's going to take pain away. A lot of these people want to fucking name things to be able to explain them in a way that they can understand. 100%. Explain it in a way that you can understand for you. For you. Do not try to place that on us or anyone else, because essentially accepting our circumstances because we can't change them doesn't mean that we're happy with the circumstance. We're fine. We're fine because we can't do anything to change the circumstance. We have tried every fucking outlet. We have gone to all the places that claim they're going to help, and none of them are helping. So essentially, us being fine with it is just us saying, you know what? We accept that this is the way society has created the system, and there is nothing at this time that we can do about it but focus on our fucking health. And I don't want to talk to you about it because talking to you is re traumatizing me over and over again, because your behaviors and your actions are built upon your comprehension of what I am going through and not my understanding of what I am going through. It doesn't mean that you're wrong about some of the things that y'all be saying. It means that it's inaccurate to try to fit people into these categories. It is way too complicated. The fight, flight, fawn, whatever response, the F response that our brain has because of our amygdala has no explanation that is logical to the human brain, because it's an illogical response to different forms of fear. Back when it was just dinosaurs, we'd shit ourselves so our body was lighter and we could run faster. That was the response. So what happens to me when I'm with doctors that are not listening? I fucking shit myself or piss myself. Why? Because I need to run. The body wants to run in those circumstances. My brain shuts down and I shit myself. That's not something that you guys can fucking deny or categorize or even give medicine for. Stop trying to give fucking pharmaceuticals for this shit. We need to feel through it. If you can't accept that our way of creating society is what's causing these problems, you're literally just trying to label people so that you can put them in programs, institutionalize them, or medicate them. As someone who has been in the programs, who has been in institutions, and has been overly medicated with medications that were literally shutting down my liver and other organs, I can tell you, fuck you, go love yourself and learn a different way of psychology. Because the moment that you start categorizing people for these aspects, you forget your ego. You really do forget your ego. because essentially not all of us will fit into those categories. And some of us are asking for simple things like housing. Housing makes a huge difference. If you cannot provide housing, you are not providing a safe place for that individual to heal. If you provide housing where they are being re-traumatized by the same behaviors that traumatized them before, you are not a safe individual and your program is not a safe program. If the program is teaching them that things like poetry or our liking of mystical creatures and shit like that is magical thinking instead of a way of coping, then essentially you yourself are creating a program that will shut down the spirit's way of being able to reconnect to source itself and to Mother Earth. I don't give a fuck how many credentials you have. If you come with me with that shit, unfortunately, I am a very highly intelligent neurodivergent individual. So yes, I need a highly intelligent program that can understand and comprehend what I am going through. Not one that is trying to categorize me or put me in a tiny little box, because I don't fit in boxes. I don't fit in boxes, and I don't fit in housing situations where I'm surrounded by adults that don't take responsibility for their own shit and then blame me for their shit. Because the moment that you keep creating these passive systems that are harmful to other individuals, you are harming each other. You are harming each other, and I want no part in it, and I won't participate in it, period. I won't participate in it. If you don't want to learn, I can teach you. By you helping me, I can teach you to see the world differently. This is why when I was working as a caregiver, this is the sweater I chose for our autism month. Autism. Seeing the world. I can't read what I'm saying. Seeing the world from a different angle, because essentially that's all it is. If you are unwilling to see the world in the different angles that we all see them in, you're trapped in your way of perceiving and moving through the world. And essentially, because that worked for you, now you think it's going to work for another. Some of us are dealing with extreme physical ailments because of the trauma that has been placed on our bodies. And there is nothing we can do about it. There is nothing we can do about it. We are processing it as fast as we can. As fast as we can. But if we're not given a place to rest so that we can heal, you're not giving us the space that we need. Keeping us in these agitated states, or keeping individuals like myself on the street and saying that we're unhousable, is a lie. Is a blatant lie. It's a lie created by the system to be able to institutionalize people instead of helping them. So yes, when people get desperate enough, they will go into those institutions no matter how harmful they are. But it's cult-like mentality. It really is cult-like mentality if you can't see the harm that you are committing on another person. Because essentially I'm turning yellow again, which means that my body is really struggling with everything that is happening within it. I was in the ER yesterday. My body is really struggling. This vein just decided to create a little lump right here. So I'm just putting my menthol patches on there, relaxing my blood pressure to bring my blood pressure down, because I stopped taking the CBD and THC. And since then, my blood pressure is getting really high. That is very harmful to my kidney function. It's very harmful. We've known this for years. However, so was putting me on the medications that were for blood pressure. It was lowering my blood pressure way too much and putting me in harm's way. And since doctors don't want to believe what I'm saying, I'm dealing with extreme kidney pain and using patches everywhere so that I can tolerate the pain enough to be able to function. But essentially, I can't be around people when I'm in this much pain, because I'm going to react to all your bullshit. I'm going to react to it because you don't understand, but you are trying to make me understand you. You don't want to try to understand where I'm at, but you are trying to force me to understand where you are coming from. That's not going to work. It's not going to work because essentially you have not provided the basic necessities for human life. Housing and food. And I'm not talking about the shit that we're forced to eat when we can't afford anything else. I'm talking about healthy food that has the nutrients we need. Because essentially I sent the message to my doctor at Kaiser, my dietitian, over a month ago, so that I could get more of my nutrient packs, and I have not received them. I have supposedly an appointment with them, but I am so pissed at Kaiser for telling me that I'm disenrolled and then still having me enrolled so I can't get care anywhere else, or even fulfill my housing referral that I got from a different doctor. Because essentially they're still holding me hostage at Kaiser Permanente. That is a hostage situation that no one wants to fucking see or even get me out of. You're literally letting the people who traumatize continue to re-traumatize me for your benefit. And then saying that I'm the problem child here. I am not the problem child. Look at all the records of what they have done and have tried to say about me and what I am doing. I am not playing no more. And that's why you will not medicate me until you get a proper diagnosis. If you can't figure out what the proper diagnosis is, then you need to let me fucking rest. Because that's all my body can do with this much exhaustion. That is all it can do. I am such physical chronic pain all the time that all I can do is rest. Because otherwise my kidneys start to hurt. My liver starts to fail. My pancreas gets inflamed and my blood sugars go nuts. Now, if you're not going to say that those are real things that need to be treated and you want to keep going towards the mental health thing, then you need to accept that there is alternative medicines and there is natural alternative medicines. Psilocybin is a great medicine for physical pain caused by mental disorders. CBD, great medicine for physical pain caused by quote unquote mental disorders, by stress responses. All of these things are great, but without proper detoxification, it's why, what are they called? Native American sweat lodges exist, because if we're not detoxing all of these stress hormones and all of this adrenaline, essentially our body begins to shut down. But all you want to do is keep pushing and pushing more poison into our body, knowing that we can't detox properly. Knowing that our bodies are shutting down because they're not detoxing properly. If you don't want to admit that we need extra hydration and stuff, because I told them after the CT scan that I would need to be properly flushed. They didn't hear me. They didn't want to listen. Cool. Now, instead of having just my left kidney hurt, now both of my kidneys be hurting and I'm still having trouble to fucking pee, which is initially what I went to urgent care for, because I'm having trouble to pee and I was afraid of an infection. Essentially, if this leads to an infection because I'm having trouble to pee, it's on the urgent care and the ER that I went to, because they weren't hearing me. I know my body very well. I've had to learn my body because you motherfuckers don't listen. So here I am drinking a bunch of electrolytes and flushing myself with water, which will take longer than if you would have just given me that little bit of extra IV fluids. Oh, but it doesn't show on your fucking blood work that you're dehydrated. Bitch, it's not that's why I said baselines, those baselines that you guys create for vitamin levels and hydration levels and all of that, it's not a one size fits all. If you're not hearing your patients, you don't have to understand why my body responds differently than all the other bodies that you have come in contact with. You just need to believe that my body responds differently, because essentially when you don't believe, you put me further in harm's way. I will let you do your fucking testing. But essentially, when you flip the script and don't do the testing plus the detoxifying, you're putting us in harm's way and you're putting us in a crisis. My body's inflammation is getting better. As much as you want to say that my legs are not swollen, my legs are very swollen. My veins are popping. My veins are literally popping and creating bruises. This is not from hitting anything. This is literally from my veins popping. Do you know how painful that is? The one that popped over here was incredibly painful. Luckily, it didn't bruise as bad. Just a little bruise. But essentially, there's still a little ball right there. You checked me for blood clots yesterday. That's what y'all said, right? Are you sure that's not a blood clot? Are you sure that's not a thinning out vein? Because I've had my veins collapse in the past. You have it on ultrasound. If you save the ultrasounds, Kaiser Permanente. But Lord knows that you never put the actual notes of what's happening during patient care in emergency rooms and when we are hospitalized. You only put your biased opinion of what you think should be in those charts. You guys need to chart everything. You need to chart, even videotape the ultrasounds so that other doctors can review them Because your biased opinion is not the only opinion that exists. And some people have had the experience of dealing with individuals like myself and can teach you a little bit with the science. I can't give you the motherfucking science. I didn't study all the shit that you studied. All I can tell you is how my body responds and how I am dealing with it. But essentially, I can't fix the problem because I am not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. I am going to you for that. But essentially, instead of doing that, you guys want to limit how much doctors can do or even say when we are there. You also want to limit how doctors learn. And essentially, doctors are human beings too. They all learn differently. And if you don't show them the evidence of these different forms of bodies that exist, they treat everybody the same. And one size does not fit all. If you don't start to view the world from different perspectives, you're going to continue to limit healthcare. And you're going to continue to bypass true healing and true health. And you're going to continue to try to label everything instead of trying. Labeling does not lead to understanding. Just look at the DSM-5. Labeling does not lead to an understanding of any condition. Okay, if you don't have wisdom to back off that level of labeling, you're essentially blocking your own ability to turn knowledge into wisdom and turn experiences of things that have happened into actual experience for future care and well-being. I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from trusting you motherfuckers way too much. You put me in harm's way consistently and constantly because you're limited. And that's why I didn't say shit to the people in the ER yesterday. I didn't say shit to them because they are limited by their ER experience. And I'm going to let you be limited. I'm not going to let you fuck me up further when I know things that work and that will diminish. But these things that work require a lot of rest. I haven't been able to do shit today because of how exhausted I am and how much my kidneys hurt. Because I got to fucking pee and I can't pee like a normal people today or yesterday or the day before yesterday. It's why I went to urgent care to get help. This has led to acute kidney failure in the past. What do I got to do about it? Lord knows, because there's not much I can do right now. I'm sitting here with garlic in my socks to be able to lower my blood pressure, eating freaking ginger echinacea things because it's also affecting my ability to swallow because of the inflammation. And you guys want to say that I don't have that weird trachea. Look. This is why I end up choking on my food and water when there's inflammation there. This is why you guys have hurt my throat when you do the thing when I'm getting surgery or when you're sticking cameras down my throat. Y'all don't want to fucking listen that not every single body chemistry is the same. Not all anesthesia works the same. Not all medicine works the same. Until you acknowledge that, you're going to continue to put patients at risk and continue to spread misinformation online. Everyone believes that the things I talk about is because I spend too much time on Instagram. I use Instagram as a fucking dopamine rush thing so that I can deal with my physical pain without using painkillers. We all have a thing. I also use art. I also use movement. I also use song. I use prayer. I use a lot of different alternative methods for pain relief. That doesn't mean I am not in pain. And it does not mean that I am believing everything that is online. And that's your problem. Because of the fads that are going online, your concept as a doctor or a practitioner or a nurse is like, well, that's what's popular right now. So obviously this person is coming to us because it's popular and they think they're insane. They're doing their little med Google and they're bringing all this shit because they're crazy. Bitch, everything I've been saying has been the same thing I've been saying for 15 plus years. And that's why I refuse to allow you to fill my body with chemicals until you motherfuckers learn to properly diagnose without using these stupid baselines that are not the same for every individual. You are causing harm. One size does not fit all, and one medicine is not a cure-all. And neither is a fucking pharmacy. Essentially, if you keep people on that much medicine all the time, you are helping the inability for organs to function. And I'm not saying that all diseases or autoimmune disorders work the same. I'm talking about mine. Okay? And I've had several individuals like myself who are hypersensitive to medicines because you guys don't want to believe that for us, they give me adult doses of allergy medicine and give me all kinds before, like I was on like 3 or 4 different allergy medicines for MCAS, including the ones that go up your fucking nose. You know what I'm taking right now? Kids Claritin, chewables, 1 a day to control the symptoms that you were over medicating for. Stop starting dosages at weight. Not everybody, especially not someone with MCAS, will do well if you're starting dosages based on the person's weight. For some of us, children doses do work. But y'all are fucking stupid. And that's what pisses me off. Because you refuse to see the world differently. Or refuse to understand hypersensitive bodies, immune systems, ecosystems. Because essentially our body is an entire fucking ecosystem. Each one of us is a planet in itself. And unless you want to lead with curiosity to go explore that planet, you don't get to touch this planet at all. Period. I will always walk away from system like that, no matter how much pain I'm in. It doesn't mean I have less pain. My body is dealing with a very serious problem to the point where I'm breaking out. This only happens when my body is trying to detox all of the shit that's going on within it. My blood pressure getting this high, that essentially has been a problem for years. And that's why I was using CBD. But you guys don't want me to use CBD because you say that that's what's causing my pot symptoms. They existed since I got sick with my kidney disease. My blood pressure used to be way too high and it was causing a lot of issues. Now it fluctuates from going way too high, way too low, way too high, way too low. Let's pass out. That's not necessarily from the flight response. It's the overwhelm that the kidneys are going through, the overwhelm that the heart is going through with those fluctuations. And maybe the cause was prolonged bouts of stress, but the solution isn't just focusing on the mental health aspect of it. And talking more about it isn't going to change anything if you're not willing to see that talking more about certain things only re-traumatizes the person and essentially does not help them move past it. If you're not willing to provide proper housing and proper food, then you're not willing to help, because that's where society is right now. More than thousands of conditions are being caused by the housing and food crises, not just here in America, but all over the world. And the U.S. has been using food as a weapon since before World War II. Since before. And there's a lot of shows that talk about it in little bits and pieces, and you can get little glimpses of reality through these shows and things like that. It doesn't mean that we're believing everything that is happening in the shows, but essentially you can get little glimpses of the reality, because writers, artists especially, will use metaphors and put truth into all of the stories that we weave, so that those who can actually understand what metaphors mean can understand them. It's why Jesus spoke the way that he did. Y'all want to take his words at fucking without understanding the relation to the times and what was happening. You misunderstand them and then misincorporate them into your life, thus causing more harm in the individuals' lives around you. You want to keep fucking around with religion like that's your cure-all? It is not a cure-all. Spirituality is not a cure-all. Spirituality will not change society if you're not willing to put in the work to change it, and if you're not willing to actually talk about what the fuck is going on. It puts a strain on our entire body. Using as much Tylenol as I'm using for pain, even though I'm only using lower than the recommended amount, is already affecting my liver. But you guys want to keep going with this. I'm going to turn into a Simpson. I've been a Simpson before. And it's not going to show up in your test right away, because my body isn't like that. My body is a lot more resilient because it's been put through this. It's been put through this before, so it's going to do its damnedest, hoping that I'll get to be able to use the sauna soon so I'll be able to detox. But I don't have housing. The sauna mat takes a lot of electricity. It's what fucked up the electricity in the house that I was living. And then they try to blame it on my mini fridge. I told you motherfuckers that I had medical devices. Those medical devices take a lot of electrical current. You cannot excuse these things and pretend they don't exist. And proper housing is required for individuals with medical conditions. But even disability grants, once you start pushing the buttons to try to find disability grants, they're all for seniors. I'm happy you're helping our seniors. But what about all the young people that are disabled because of the system that you motherfuckers created with your capitalistic views? Because my capitalistic cousin says the same thing. Well, there's not enough housing. I wonder why. I wonder why housing is like this. You think that your kids are not going to suffer from the world that you helped create? That you helped co-create? What are you doing to change it so that individuals can actually afford housing when they can't work full-time jobs or work at all? Because essentially, if I don't get proper relief from these symptoms, I have to rest all day. It's really hard to stay up all day. I take multiple naps a day. I can work great in a garden, but if I'm just working in a garden, that's not valued work. The gardens that I was making, that wasn't valued by the individuals around me. I was just a lazy fuck at the house not doing shit. Okay, cool. You told me to find a way to stay healthy, and now you're mad because I found joy in the way that I've found to stay healthy. I've accepted my circumstances every single time I get placed in them. And when I say I'm fine, I'm saying that I'm fine. I've accepted this is where I'm at. It doesn't mean this is where I'm going to stay at. And it doesn't mean that I'm not suffering through it. It just means that I'm not willing to talk to you about my suffering because you haven't proven to be a safe person. So shut the fuck up. We don't want your advice, and we certainly do not want you trying to categorize what we are going through because you don't understand it. A lot of you are too privileged and have never been homeless and have never lived in a toxic environment with toxic individuals to be able to understand or move past it. And some of you believe that economic success means that you somehow healed your toxic past. It doesn't. Especially for the cousin that I spoke to. You're still letting your brother suffer living with your mother. A lot of you are allowing it because at least you don't have to deal with that shit of the chronically ill individual. So what do? They over-medicate him so that they don't have to tolerate him. But he would be happy in a garden too. He loves being in a garden. And you'd probably need to use less medicine if you kept him working in gardens. If landscapers understood this, some landscapers do, and they would incorporate. Some mechanics have incorporated neurodivergent individuals into their mechanic shops. Why? Because they understand that if you leave them alone, they'll fix any car like that. And that's the problem. Each individual views the world in the scope that they are viewing it from. And those of you that are harmful or critical of other ways of viewing the world are misunderstanding that just because we accepted that that's how you view the world, it doesn't mean we're going to accept it as a way for us to move through the world, because essentially it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. So why would I incorporate that into my way of living? Why would I do the same thing that I've done before and expect different results? Do you think I'm insane? Because essentially that's what you're trying to prove, that I'm insane because I'm not willing to do the same thing. But if you look up the definition of insanity, it actually says doing the same thing and expecting different results. That's essentially what you guys are doing. You're doing the same fucking thing and expecting different results. And then calling the people who see the pattern and call out the pattern the insane ones or the delusional ones. No, the delusion is the world that you have created and that expect the rest of us to live in. Especially when we have proven time and time again that living within that world has been harmful to our health. You are purposely wanting to be harmful to our health and then asking us to be grateful for it. I'm grateful for Creator and everything that Creator gives me, but I'm not grateful for the society that you guys created, because this society is not what Creator created. This society is what y'all are creating and what y'all are bypassing and ignoring and becoming bystanders for. So keep on going. Enjoy it. Love it the way it is, because obviously you like living in shit. Because you are suffering, you want others to suffer. Because you had a difficult life and you had no choice but to live that difficult life, because you were unwilling to take on the battle that is to talk and stand up for these kind of things. Because essentially you will end up ostracized by society and then told that you're self-isolating. I'm not self-isolating. I'm being ostracized. There's a huge difference. And to pathologize one as the other is harmful, very harmful. And I see it a lot in the different definitions of depression and shit like that. You guys are harmful with your labeling, because you don't understand what the person is going through, because you don't want to accept the society that created those problems. You want to just tell the person that they have to learn to live within those societal means, while those particular means are harming them. So just keep that in mind, because essentially we are all a part of it. And as long as you guys keep spewing this nonsense, you are continuing to harm people around you. I love you and have a good day.